Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do before we get into anything is I'm going to say a big thank you to everyone who is watching or listening to this episode of the Simply Inspired podcast, which is actually episode 535, I believe. And I want to thank, first of all of you for sticking with us on the journey so far. But also, I also want to extend a big thank you to today's guest, James Leslie, because this man today I've been privileged to work with as a coach. I'm privileged to call him my friend as well. So it's a little different today than some of the podcasts we do when I'm meeting people for the first time. Because what I can safely say is this gentleman has one of the most inspiring stories that I've ever heard in my life. And I hear a lot of inspiring stories, obviously, as a coach, as a podcaster, with everything I do. But this man's story, what he's overcome, the way he's grown to become the man that he is today, teaching yoga, fitness training, meditation, mental mastery, so many things. We'll find out more about that later. From confinement to clarity. It's an incredible journey of resilience, transformation, triumph, healing, so many things like that. And today, there's going to be a couple of things. First of all, there will be lessons that all of you listening to this anywhere around the world can pick up and practically apply in your own lives. Whatever you're going through, if you're struggling, if you're going through a hard time, if you have a dream, something you want to achieve in your life, anything like that, there will be lessons here. But also finding out more about James himself and the work he does, finding out more about his message, finding out more about everything like that will also inspire you, I'm sure, to want to find out more and maybe even work with him directly. So that's a little introduction there. James, my friend, I mean, when people hear your story, they're going to be blown away. Hopefully, I've done that justice in the intro. And just thank you for taking time out of your morning for this, my friend. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Liam.
That's okay. That's okay. So that's the intro. I mean, it's funny doing an intro, isn't it? Because we've spoken so many times, but that's still the intro. We need to do that just to give people the context because I hope that many people will be hearing your story for the first time and really uncovering what you're all about. So with this, there's a lot to talk about, and I want to talk a little bit about your upbringing. Now, just so you know, with the whole early life aspect, we're not going to spend too long talking about this, but just from the point of view of anyone hearing this for the first time, tell us a little bit about where you're from and where your life began, please. Let's start there.
Well, my parent immigrated from Haiti in the late 70s. I was born in Montreal. We moved to a little city in the suburbs called Terrebonne, and I think we were the third black family in the whole city, so I don't know how it goes. So early childhood, a lot of racism, a lot of fights. And, they say everything starts from childhood, so after all the introspection that I did, I can see how, you build your walls up when you're a kid, that tough image, because being mean gets you further than being kind. Well, that's what you think at that point of your life. So that was my upbringing. I was a great kid in school. I had great grades, but I didn't like school because to me school was too slow. Like I wasn't meant to sit and repeat the same thing 10 times. So like, if you tell me one time, I know about it, like let's move on. But so I didn't really attend high schools like that. I ended up finishing high school later in life, but I didn't really go to school. So I started hanging out, playing basketball. I think that's when weed started. Like people started smoking weed back in the days. So started smoking. Wasn't nothing too crazy, just recreation. But yeah. So after that, 18, start hanging out. Well, they say the wrong crowd, but it's your friends really. People that, because what I've learned with time is that you bond with people through traumas. And when you take a look back at it, most of the people I don't talk to anymore because beside the trauma that we live together, the racism or I don't know, you're in school, you're getting bullied, you're or you're part of a gang, you're just connected with those people to protect you against certain aspects of life or your environment. But if you remove that environment, you don't really have purpose for those people. So yeah, it's what you learn from growing up. So when they say change your crowd, or it's not about the people that are bad, it's the fact you got to think why you hang out with those people. You got to learn your core values, and if they align with those values, fine. But if they don't, you just keep it moving.
Well, let me just say that's a great life lesson just to kick things off. That's a really, really great life lesson. And James, I always appreciate the vulnerability that it takes to do this. I know you're totally cool with it, and I'm not saying that, but I actually say this to a lot of my guests on the show, is it takes courage, it takes vulnerability to share these things and go back through your experiences. But everything that we're talking about today is to help others, and what you shared there already starts in that way, really, really well. Okay, now you mentioned a couple of things there. You mentioned about like the wrong crowd. They call it the wrong crowd. But obviously, when you're that age and when you're just a kid, and I've experienced this as well, by the way, you don't necessarily know that they're the wrong crowd because everyone around you is kind of doing the same thing, and you look around your world, and that's what you've got to deal with. And even though it's an abstract question, I would like to talk about, what you said there about being mean would get you further than being kind, or at least that was your perception at the time. How did that influence the people that you looked up to in your area then versus the people you started to look up to a little bit later? Do you get what I mean? Because your role models then would have been like the meanest guys, the toughest guys. And like you said, who we surround ourselves with, who we look up to is very, very important. So can we talk about that aspect a little bit, please?
Yeah, it's easy because I created my persona at a young age. It's just from hip hop. Like my first cassette tape was Tupac, Me Against the World, and Wu-Tang Clan 36 Chambers. So from like 7 years old, I've been listening to that gangster shit. So to me, it became normal. Like it becomes in your psyche as a kid to do these things, and it's cool to have money and move drugs and all types of crime. So you're not really in it because you're young, it's just music, but it already gets into your mind, like into your subconscious. So my role model were like gangster rappers. Whether their story is true or not, you believe it as a kid. So you try to emulate the same lifestyle and you hang around the same people. Like you said, like I said, the wrong crowd. It's not really the wrong crowd, it's just what you do. Like if you want to make money and the way to make money is to sell drugs, you're gonna sell drug. You don't really think about if it's good or not. So at this point, it is what it is. I'm always been somebody. I had a lot of job. I worked a lot of 9 to 5. I have no problem with people working. Get it by all means, but I mean it's just always been a chameleon to my environment. So whatever, like if you tell me you want to eat today and you have to rob that store, okay, so let's just rob that store. I didn't have no second thoughts about it. It's just one more thing to do today. Like it sounds stupid looking back at all the things that we've done, but it is what it is. Like if you tell me go in that house and tie that old mother in the basement, that's what we got to do to eat today. That's what we're doing. I mean, now I realize shit, that's kind of effed up to think, but it is what it is when you grow up. Like you build your mind. When they say your mind isn't built before 25, yeah, I think my mind wasn't built until I went to jail at like 30, 31, because I still have the mentality of me against the world, basically. My first step was that name, me against the world, and that's how I live my life.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, and it shows the importance of as well as to what we feed our minds. I mean, it's not just nutrients. It's not just what we eat. It's very much what we feed our mind, what we take in from every angle. But it makes sense. Okay, so when you were getting into this stuff, it's like you said there. It's what you had to do to eat. It's what you had to do to survive. And all this sort of stuff. But were you kind of aiming higher at that point? Were you aiming like not just to survive, but also to thrive. And were you thinking at that time, like I'm gonna do well off this, I'm gonna like, build a bigger empire or make more money, or was it more just a kind of hand to mouth, kind of like somebody living paycheck to paycheck, but living, deal to deal or robbery to robbery? Do you get what I mean with that? Like where I'm going with that topic?
Yeah, because I never, contrary to a lot of people in the streets, I never had the ambition. Like I never told myself I would be the mobster of Montreal in 10 years. Like it was just things that you do. And I'm always been like, it's all about my image. So I would do things just for the image of it. I didn't really need to do it. Like I said, most of my life I had a job. I had a 9 to 5. I went to school. Like I was a good civilian, if you can say, but on the side, like you hang around people, that's what they do. And if to be cool, you have to have a gun on you, then I would have a gun on me. Like it's not, I didn't really have a second thoughts about the things that I do, but I wasn't really my ambition to be living off the streets.
I get what you mean. So I mean, people use the peer pressure kind of term. I mean, I know it's not very good, but the pressure of the image, I get what you mean. Okay, so then if someone had told you back then that now, you'd be teaching like yoga, you'd be like fitness training, you'd be teaching people about the mind. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're going to come to that shortly. We're going to come to the process of that, but I have to ask you, at this point in time, if someone had said that to you, what would you have said back then?
I would have laughed it off, like probably taking it the wrong way. Like you calling me gay or something, like you calling me soft, like I had that energy, that persona. But fitness, I could say it because I've been working out all my life and everybody around me works out with boxers and things like that. But yoga wasn't even popular 10 years ago. Like it became a trend all of a sudden now. It's Pilates and all that stuff, but it became a trend. People don't really, I never, until I researched it myself, nobody told me about mental health or sympathetic system or whatever, thinking about your job being the observer. Like to me, emotion were useless. Like I didn't need emotions in my life. Like you do it, you can't do certain things and all types of emotion. Like you're gonna be depressed and cry all day. I mean, I just learned to block everything. Like you have to do something, okay, you just block it, you do it, and I go back to the party after. I won't even think about it again. So you just suppress it, suppress it. As growing up too, like I wasn't really, if you think about your parents, my dad is like me. Like I never had a conversation with my dad till I went to prison, till I was like 31. You never, first time he told me I love you was in a letter. I was like 32 maybe. And that was kind of weird. I didn't know what to answer. I think I thought about it for a couple of weeks before I answered back because I didn't know. I know he loves me, but I don't need to hear it and I'm not gonna say it. Like that's how we grew up. Uh, well,
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I mean, and then I've got to say as well to now, like the way you balance, I've said this to you in our sessions and everything, but the way you balance like the yin and yang kind of masculine, feminine energies, like the sensitive side, the tough side, everything like that. I mean, I would say that everything you're talking about now, the tough side, the mental resilience, like blocking out the emotions, it's still there. But then you've got like the other side of the coin, with the yoga and with like the more sensitive side, and it's a good balance, which is amazing hearing this. Anyway, so coming back to that, okay, so you're in the life, you're doing the 9 to 5 thing. I struggle to imagine you in an office, James. I mean, it's nothing to do with any of this street stuff. I mean, it's just even knowing you now, I struggle to imagine that. So, if you don't mind sharing, what were some of the jobs that you were doing at that time, as well as the street stuff? I mean, what kind of things are we talking about there?
I went to what you call it, trade school. I was a technician in telecommunications, so everything that has to do with cables. I used to work around Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia, around here in Canada, worked for Rogers. Like once the cellular phone system started, like we could send more than 50 texts a month. I was installing the system across, well, the east of Canada. I worked for cable companies like in-house cables or Everything that has to do with telecom technician. Like I would change job every year because me, I get bored of doing the same thing. And when I feel like if you do something and after 3 months, you know that's what you're gonna do for the next 40 years, like okay, like on to the next job. I'm not doing this. So I never had really something. I always been working, but I would do something for 3 to 6 months and I would live off the streets for a couple months, find another job. So that was my life till I was like maybe 25. Till I really said, you know what, screw this 9 to 5 stuff and I'm gonna just stick it to the street for now.
So was that where the street stuff kind of went up a level, if you like? Because you said about 25, and then you're talking about the sentence, which we'll talk about shortly, was like maybe 30 something. I don't know. I mean, you can remind me of the timeline. Because as I've said to you during our sessions, James, I also don't see you as being defined by this stuff. I mean, there's a lot more to you, which we'll talk about as well. But it's also shaped the man you are today in different ways. But yeah, anyway, with what you were saying there, 25, was that where the street life kind of went up a notch or two, would you say? Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's when it went up.
Okay.
Because you're doing now it's a full-time scheme. So you get up and that's what you think about. You hang around with people. Like it's funny because I was with one of my friends a couple weeks ago. Like we know each other till until we were like 14 and 15. But he's been to jail most of his life. And he got out last year, pretty much same time as me. And we were sitting just eating a meal. And I was thinking, you know what? It's the first time we actually just eat a meal and just hang out and have fun. Like we would always do something, but it was always be a talk. Okay, well, what's the next move? Where we get money? There's always some criminal activity tied to everything. We didn't have fun. We wouldn't go out in a bar and just have a drink and go home. Like we go in a bar, okay, like, what's next? Who we can rob today? Like so, yeah. But yeah, it went up a notch. Because already everybody's growing and everybody grew at the same time as me. So I didn't, let's say, move up the ladder in the criminal world, but all my friends did. So whatever I needed, I could just ask them and they would put me on whatever. I didn't have to go back and be a soldier, if you can say. So when I was on, and I'm a reliable person. Like when I say something, I do it. They already seen me in action. They know I'm not scared of anything. So it was kind of an easy process.
What is the craziest story you can tell from that time without incriminating yourself or get yourself in any extra trouble? Because bear in mind, we're trying to build you up here, and we'll talk about the sentence in a minute. But is there kind of an example you can use without getting yourself in any trouble? Even if you have to describe it maybe in like, theoretically we did this and you never said you done it kind of thing. But people will want to hear a little bit of juice of some of what went on. So if there's anything like that you can mention, please do. And if not, I respect that.
Then crazy. You mean let's say
Any
alleged
crazy,
crime or
yeah, alleged crime or just any crazy story. I mean, just something that people wouldn't
well, yeah.
expect.
Well, to me, there's certain stories because we're gonna get further into that after. But I mean, I always tell people you got to know your core values. That's the first thing you got to know. And I remember when I was, oh no, was way before then. I maybe 18, 19, and started selling drugs. And I think it was my first day or second day selling drug in that area. I went to the house. I gave a woman, I think it was crack at the time. I gave her a piece of crack. It's like 7 in the morning. I leave, I do my run. Same number called me like 45 minutes after. I go back. That's probably her girlfriend, boyfriend, or husband or something. I give him some again. An hour passed by. They call me again. I get out the door, but it's a kid. But I see them in the back, like laying on the couch, like they're all fucked up, they're high. So I'm like, shit. And the kid is like waiting for me to give him the thing so he can. I guess that was his kid, their kids. So I'm like, shit. And I gave it to the kid. I'm like, okay, give me the money. I'll give it to you. Like, it's. I always remember it. Like, I'm like, shit. I sold drugs to a kid. He could have been him. Like, he could have taken it. I don't know. He maybe brought it to his parents. Maybe it was just some random guy in the house. So if you don't move it, like I had no values at the time, just okay, let's make this money. And I even thought sometime it was a test. Maybe they were testing me to see if I would do it. Because in the street, they always, well, me, if somebody, let's say I employ somebody, I was always have a few tests like this to see how they move. So yeah, stories like that, drugs, could be anything. Could be moving a bag, don't look in the bag, or I don't know. There's a thousand stories out of the top of my head. Crazy story. I don't know. We were a lot into robberies, so kicking doors. You think nobody's in the house, somebody in the house. So it's, you know where it goes. So I can't incriminate myself, but yeah, we went the extra miles for that money.
Okay, so two things with that, with the mindset, because what I'm trying to do here is show the difference your mindset then to now, which we'll come to more shortly. First of all, it's going to sound cliche, right? But you know, everyone I know in that kind of life, which is quite a few people, by the way, the cliche, even though it's true, of like looking over your shoulder and like, you know, the kind of life that it is and the danger and all that type of stuff is true. So it always kind of fascinates me, like when you were in there, I know you said earlier that you weren't necessarily thinking ahead. You were thinking about, right, let's get the money, let's get the bag today, let's just, you know, do this day to day kind of thing. But did you ever consider your life being in danger, even though you had no fear? I know that you said that everyone knew you had no fear, but did you ever think like, man, you know, it only takes one wrong move, it only takes one thing, you know, where my back is turned and that's it, you know, this could all be over. Did that ever kind of enter your mind at any time during this process?
Because I was talking about that the other day with my same friend. I think like maybe we had like suicidal tendencies, but we just didn't want to do it ourselves because even, well, that's a crazy mentality, but even when I was talking with him, I always th we had a pact, me and him, and said if at 25 we're not rich, we're just gonna rob a money truck. But and my mindset was always I'm gonna shoot it out with the cops. I'm not going to jail for life, whatever happened. Depending on the crime, like if you do a few years, you get arrested. But at the level that we were, I'm like, okay, if we do this and that and this and that, the cops come around, let's just shoot it out. Like I'm not going to prison for life. So fear for my life, not really. I think we were like I said, well, maybe not suicidal, but we're crazy to the fact that we didn't really care about life. And me, I'm always one of my traits is like I'm really a protector. So I would be a real protector for my friends. Like I don't like you could say anything to me, it don't really bother me like that. But if you would say the same thing to my friend next to me, then it's a big problem. So I always took upon myself to regulate those situations. And one of the reason I went to jail last time. But no, we never really care about life like that. Like, you know, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but we never really thought about the future. I guess I never really thought I would still be alive neither, like living the way we were doing. I mean, I seen our friends who got killed. I already got shot at. They didn't touch me. Like it's I don't know. You become numb to it.
So you got shot at as well? You were saying during this time, okay, yeah. So it's you see, the suicidal thing. I've heard that, by the way. I'm not surprised when you say that, by the way. That particular aspect because you know it's a very common thing, and it also makes sense to me how your value in yourself has grown even in the time we've worked together. But that's another story. Okay, and the other thing is obviously the empathy. I mean, obviously, like, I know that the answer is going to be no, you're going to have like some way of compartmentalizing it, but you know, like when you said that about selling drugs to the kid, or like maybe actually not with the drugs, because people are escaping their problems they're doing, but like say with the robberies and stuff, did you ever think about like it from the other person's shoes kind of thing of like, okay, I'm robbing them, they're afraid, they're intimidated, they're, whatever they're going through psychological trauma and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I'm curious as to if that occurred to you and you had a way of like blocking it out, like you said earlier, you would block things out, or if it never occurred to you at all until later, kind of thing. Because that's another aspect of the mindset switch. Because obviously now, you're healing people, you're helping people become better, and then, mentally from like robbing people to helping them, that's a big shift as to how you view other people, right? So if you get where I'm going with this, what was your mindset back then to any kind of empathy or any kind of awareness of their suffering or their experiences,
As well. Well, it's easy because when you go back to your childhood, like when I was saying, living racism and everything, you stay in a victim mentality. So you're gonna make the world pay for what you live. So I never really cared about, not about the people feeling. I would feed off the fear. Like I love people fearing me. Like even stupid now that I'm a light worker and a healer, but when you did something for so long, like well, I can't say I miss it, but like going into a bar, knowing everybody knows you and fears you, it's a different vibe. Like I mean, as a man, I don't know how to explain it. I know the feeling. But so I would feed off people's fear. So going into a house doing those things, we would just laugh it off after. You remember, oh, I did this or you did that, or you remember that reaction. Oh, that guy was crying. That was funny. Like we would always like, no, we didn't care about it like that. Like I said, we suppress our emotion. Like the more of a demon you are, the more respected you are in your crowd. So we didn't have time for love and compassion.
I get it. I totally get. Well, I mean, I've seen it in action, so I totally get where you're coming from. But it's interesting for people to hear the other side of the coin because it has a lot of similarities with soldiers in the army as well. I mean, like in a military kind of mindset. It not to go off on a tangent with that, but I mean, I hear a lot of guys that I know, like being in the military, they're going over to like fight the Taliban or do whatever they're doing, and they have a similar type of thing. So it's interesting with the shift. Okay, so then last question about this before we come to the sentence, then we're going to come into your transformation. The lifestyle has benefits, though. I mean, it obviously everyone knows that when you're living this way, it doesn't actually lead anywhere you want to go at the end of the day. But when you're in there, there's perks because obviously there's the girls, there's the parties, there's like the wild times. There's basically, I mean, I'm guessing this is the same for you because certainly where I come from, it's similar where there's basically a work hard and play hard type of vibe with this lifestyle, right? I mean, was that the case for you? And just tell us a little bit about the parties and about the wild times. Like, how would you celebrate after doing like a big robbery or
It's
doing a big
it's
deal, that kind of thing.
I think it's a feeling like most people can understand. Like I think it's an animal thing, like, because you do this crazy stuff, your adrenaline is up, and then me, I would spend my life at the strip club, so every night it's a different stripper. Well, I mean, I don't know, it's just different. Even sex is different. Like it's like an animal thing. Like you just live off the vibration of the moment. But the lifestyle, yeah, it's crazy. It's you live in like there's no tomorrow, basically. So your subconscious already tells you you might not make it tomorrow. Anything bad can happen. So every night is a party. It's a party, a different girl, a different whatever. Like when you're in jail, all you have is your memories. I did 4 years and I have memories for 10. Like I didn't miss. Like most guys, like they're young kids, is the first sentence. They did something crazy because they were high. And like they have nothing to think about. I had a lot of things to think about. Like my life was fun. To to a certain degree of what I was doing. Like I had a lot of fun.
It makes sense. It does make a lot of sense. So, okay, now coming into the transformational aspect, because you're like a different guy, but it's not like a cliche because everything that you're talking about there, from my perspective, and you can totally correct me if I'm wrong with this, James, but you know what I see isn't like this clean slate kind of thing. It's actually like the same qualities that you had then, but being used for good rather than them being gone, right? So in other words, like oh, I've already said this, but the resilience, the perseverance, the mental toughness, even the hustle. I mean, you're still on the hustle now with like the yoga and everything, but a positive, like the light worker version. So it's kind of like it's changed shape rather than like disappearing. That's not really a question. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I see. But that all started with this 4-year sentence. Now, we need to tell the story here as to what actually happened. And you can basically walk us through, the event that led to the sentencing, but also, how you actually felt when you got sent down, as we say in the UK. I don't know what you call it, but that kind of thing. And just walk us through the process that led to that sentence, please. Thank you.
It was a normal night. There wasn't nothing planned out. I was home with the kids and my girlfriend at the time. I just went out on a drive. I was bored because it's funny because I had a job. I changed my life when my son was born in 2018, and I removed myself completely from the streets. Started working, then again, I do something, I get bored. So I had a couple jobs, and at that moment, I had just left my job maybe a couple months, in like weeks or a couple months. So I just went out one night just for a drive because I like driving around whatever. And I saw I passed in front of a bar. I saw this guy. Long story short, we had problems in the past. We had beef related to the drug dealing. Not necessarily specifically to me, but I took a part upon me because he had problems with one of my people. I'm not gonna go deep in that situation because it's still, I don't know about statutes of limitation and everything. But yeah, so I saw him. I know I just had that feeling like, okay, I'm gonna do something to him, but it was in front of a bar, kind of was stupid. So I went to some place where I kept a gun because I always keep a few tools around, even though I'm not in the life. And I told myself I'm gonna pick up my thing. If I come back and he's still here, I'm gonna take care of that. I went back, he was still here, but it was with a few people. I followed him around. He dropped his friend. I followed him to his house, and when he got to his house, I just unloaded my clip at him. I saw him fell down. I thought he was dead, but as I was leaving, I saw that he was crawling up or something like that. But I was already leaving, and I got arrested maybe 6 blocks away, 10 blocks away, like 5 minutes away. I was gonna take the highway, they blocked everything, and they did their show. How I felt at the moment it's kind of stupid, but I felt relief. Like in my head, like it was, I don't know, it was just at that point when I told myself it's over. I didn't shoot it out with the cops because I didn't have the gun on me. Good thing, because I would have thought about it. But no, but I just felt relief. I don't know. It's just that moment when they finally stopped me. Because I feel like I did so much in my life and they never caught me. Like I got arrested a few times in my life, but I never really got arrested for the things that I was actually doing. Like they would arrest me because if they smell weed in my car or stupid shit like that. Like they would arrest me on some shit. But when I was actually doing crimes, they never arrested me for anything that I've known of in the streets. So I was like, okay, so they finally got me. I don't know, I just got relieved. I was just tired. At that point, I was just tired and I was relieved.
So, okay, so it makes sense, like the relief aspect. I mean, because obviously there's still the conscience aspect there. But maybe that ties in with the suicidal kind of thing as well, like in the sense that even though you didn't die, they kind of stopped you in your tracks, and maybe that has something to do with it. Okay, so then in terms of like the processing, the trial, all of this type of stuff that goes on after that. I mean, obviously, it can be a long process, but just walk us through it from the same thing because, we've all seen, I mean, most people have been in court or been around a trial or seen or whatever, or, and even if they haven't, they've seen it on TV or whatever. But from your experiences, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just generally, how you were feeling, what you were thinking about during that process right up until the conviction. Um, I'm asking this to show the side that people don't see from the outside looking in because they have all these preconceived ideas. So if you get where I'm going with that one, what were you thinking about during that legal process of all of this?
Well, it took me 3 years before I got to my trial because I got arrested the same day COVID started officially. So I got arrested. I went to jail. I should have gotten more time. They wanted to give me more time, but they broke a lot of my human rights when they arrested me. There was a lot of procedure they didn't do right, but because of the severity of my crime, my case didn't get dismissed. But they did a lot of things that I could have pushed it further, but I'm like, when you did it, you did it. I mean, just take your leap. But I mean, to go back to the question, 3 years, I was a monster for the first 2 years. Like I was in a mind state that I'm never going out. Like my first night in jail, I got on my range. I got into a fight 30 minutes after they jumped me for some shit that I did. I don't even remember the guys when I saw them. I'm like, shit, I had so many victims. So when did I rob you? Did I rob your, probably I beat up your brother or something like that. I stole your girlfriend. I don't know. So I got them, they jumped me. So they sent me to the hall because I never spoke on it. I never said who did this or for what. So they put me in the hall. During the fight, I broke in my hand because I'm a fight them off. I broke my hand. They put me in a hole. They didn't send me to the hospital. Yeah, I stayed there for a couple of days. I got moved around. They didn't want to transfer me. All they wanted was, and like it's funny because I was on medication and the cops keep coming to see me to get information out of my crime, like why I did it. Because the guy that I did the crime on is a well-known figure in Montreal in the mafia. So they was like trying to put dots together on who's who and who's doing what. So when I was all fucked up in a hole on drugs, they always come trying to question me. So that's part of the thing they should have done, but they did. But at any rate, I didn't say nothing. So yeah. So my sentence started with 60 days in the hole, just for me being a problem to them. And remind in Canada, you're not supposed to do more than 7 days in a hole. I think it's 5 days now. Now the hole is basically illegal, but I did 60 days straight. So my first experience in jail was being in my cell for 24 hours a day in a room. My bathroom at the time was bigger than my cell. My bathroom outside. I did 60 days in there. So to me, like the mindset that I started my sentence is different than any other person because I didn't know what jail was like in a normal condition because I was in a hole and it was COVID. So I wouldn't see my kids regardless. I wouldn't have visits. They say they have programs for inmates. They have no programs. They just leave you there, your problem. So yeah, so I just became a monster. All I had was anger. Like you're angry all the time. And it takes 13 days. I remember after 13 days, you start having suicidal thoughts. But it's not in my persona. I've seen guys kill themselves and hang themselves, but it's not in my persona. I always told myself, if I'm gonna die, I might as well make use out of my life. I'm not gonna just kill myself. So yeah, so I just made it through. Yeah, I learned detachment because I didn't want in jail, like you see guys on the phone all day, like crying and screaming at their girlfriends because either they don't answer the phone or you stress all day to know which man is in your bed right now. And I didn't want to be that guy. So from I got in jail in my head, my relationship was already over. Like even though my girlfriend didn't really leave me at the time, but I know what I was in for. I know I had a long stretch to do. I wasn't coming out. So in my head, I already blocked it out. Like my family, my friend, everything, I blocked it out. I just do what you gotta do to stay alive, and it is what it is.
Okay, now one of the things here you also told me when we spoke about this, just you and me, like not the recording, is you said that there was like names on the wall in there or something, and you said there was like something to do with all the guys who've been there before you. And you see, I always listen, James. I might just be poker face, but I'm always listening. And you said there was yeah, like the names of all the guys who've gone before, and you didn't want to be one of them or something like that, and that had an effect on your mindset in terms of survival. Can you share with us that story, please?
Yeah, 2 years, 2 years from that is because I got transferred a lot, like 'cause I used to fight a lot. I was transferred. Yeah, I was going to court to set a trial date. It was 2 years. And it was supposed to be in a couple months, but then the Crown found something they told some story. They weren't ready for the case or something was missing. So they pushed my thing back a year. And I was already been there for 2 years. And it's a pretty close case. I mean, I did the thing, you arrested me on the spot. There's nothing to debate. So anyway, so I get back. I was Superman that day. I get back, good myself, I sat there for 5 minutes and I just got out and I went into another cell and I just beat somebody up. Crazy. I got charged for that. I got another criminal case for that because I just went crazy. Anyway, I get transferred. They sent me to the older prison. I think it was my last time in the old 2 years. And that was the dirtiest cell I saw in my life. Like I never saw that. There was shit on the wall. The toilet wasn't working, full of piss and toilet paper. And all the walls, like people, they just write their names or scratch their names out because they don't have nothing. And it was full of names of guys who came before me or whatever. I knew a few of those names because you see them around. In jail, it's always the same people that go out and come in. Like, and I was like, shit, that's a full wall, and I'm here. And like, for sure, I'm not writing my name on that wall. Like, it's like it's a logical cycle. Or like you watch a movie and they always tell you like there's no positive outcome of being a gangster. Like it really hit me then. Like it's true. I don't have none of my friends who make 1 million and went to live in the Bahamas for the rest of our life. Like they're all dead or in jail. And that wall just reminded me that. And I'm like, you know what? Either I change it, because I was still thinking about my son. I know I'm coming out, but I didn't know how many years I was going to do. So I'm like, either I change or I go all out and I never come out of here. So I decided to change, hopefully. And things started to align. I did a few therapies on violence, I did therapies on traumatic events. That's when it really set my mind into working on myself afterwards.
Okay, so that was the little glimmer of light in the darkness where you started to change. Okay, so in other words, for the first time you saw the future. I mean, walk us through that a little bit more, James. Just, I mean, it's a simple thing, but there's so many. I mean, it's a simple thing on paper, but there's a lot of depth to the experiences, and I'm trying to think of the best way to put this, but basically, you had to change a lot of what you thought you knew, right? And that's a hard process for anybody. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world now anyway. You've got things like AI coming up, you've got this changing that, and people struggle to adapt. People always want to do what they want to do unless something kicks them into another direction. And what I'm getting at is here you had to like unlearn a lot of stuff. You had to learn some new stuff. You had to start like opening up with your emotions, like you said about therapy there, right? But that's a big thing, even if it's like a course, even if it's learning like about violence and whether it's still a big thing from like having totally closed off emotions, being all about the image, being all about this stuff. So I'd like to go deeper into the transformation within you during that time because, up until now, this story looks like, okay, this guy's going to be a statistic. That's that. He's going to be in there for, life, a really long time. He's going to get out an old man. He's going to die in there, whatever. And then the story pivots into like everything you're doing now. So we need to go deeper into just your experiences of transformation. I mean, take that in whichever direction you want to, but that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, but it's like I said earlier, it's all about your values. Like you have the same values all your life. You just gotta reevaluate how you use them. Like always, to me, loyalty. So I was the most loyal to whoever. So if my friend, I don't know, if he rob banks, I'm gonna go rob banks with him because I'm loyal to my friend. You just how you use it. Like now I'm loyal to myself. I'm loyal to my family, but I'm still loyal. It's just a shift of perspective. But when I say that, it's just because I always had coming into jail and like this image of the gangster. And so I had my values. I mean, okay, no snitching. You gotta be the hardest at what you do. Like you gotta like you don't hold money, you pay your debts. Like I was really by the line. But when you get there, it's like, okay, so he's the leader, but he's a drug addict. I don't use like we sell drugs, we don't use drugs. So okay. Then okay, this guy holds money and he's talking to the guards. Oh, this one is a snitch. He talked to the cops. So you start thinking, okay, so now I'm in a place that nobody has the values that I thought you should have as a criminal. So when they say no honors among thieves, it's really true. Like it's everybody by for themselves. So I'm like, okay. So even then, my mentality started to change on certain things. Like I would get into a fight, but most of my fights really because I was a problem or was disrespectful. It was just because of those things. Like you can't come into myself and now you talk to the cops. Like I'm gonna beat you up. Then I have problems. Or whatever that would go against my criminal values, I would act on it and get into more problems. So it's after 2 years you eat rock bottom. Now, my last time in the hole, I'm like, okay, I'm in the hole again for doing something that I believe should be done. And I'm the only one to do it. Like I'm the only one rectifying the situation that I think is correct, while other people are just doing their time and getting high or whatever they need to do. So I'm like, okay, that's really not me. They're not like me. So I guess I'm not a criminal anymore because they're not like me. It's not the fantasy world that I built up as a kid. And you hit rock bottom. That's just how you get tired of being tired. I'm like, okay, I'm not fighting no more. I'm just gonna get out of here and do something good. I decided to do good. Just that's a talk between me and God when I was in a hole. But I mean, I tell if I make it out of this one, I'm gonna do something good. So I did.
Okay, I get it. So the beliefs that you had were actually hurting you in the end and working against you more than they were hurting anyone else. And yeah, I mean that's the other thing is obviously with the whole God, like with the whole um spiritual aspect. I mean, you also would have had to think about all the things you didn't get caught for, in the sense that
Yeah.
you weren't able to. And I'm not going to mention any of those 'cause I don't want to get you into trouble, but just in terms of the process that you went through, looking at yourself in the mirror, so to speak, and saying, okay, I did this, I did that, and I'm in here. Was there a process of like, some kind of internal process of you addressing all the other stuff that you wasn't caught for, if you get what I mean? What was the process you went through of making peace within yourself for some of that, if you get what I mean?
Guess it was more around sentencing because they gave me 8.5 years. And like I said, they messed up my case from the beginning. So if I really would have put the money into it and the time into it, I could have get time served or I could have get some things thrown out. But at the same time, like you said, I'm like, okay, they gave me this time, but for everything I did to get caught, that I could have get way more time than that or life in prison. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take my lick and just change my life because at this point I only have like a couple years to do something. Like I've seen worse. I've been in maximum jails since I got in because I got in for violent crimes and I was a monster inside, so I never got to lower my security level. So I've been maximum everywhere. So I've been around people who thinks like me or worse than me. A lot of people with mental illness too, but so I'm like, okay, it's not. I've seen worse, and from what I did, from what I live, I'm still alive. I still got a second chance. So yeah, but that's a discussion I had a lot of other inmates about like. Because they were always complaining about their time and their time. I'm like, okay, but for all the things you did in your life, you didn't get caught with or caught for. I mean, life equals itself at some point. Maybe you're not gonna do jail time, but something else might happen to you outside. Like, the energy you put out is always gonna come back. So I saw it firsthand in jail because I broke my hand multiple times. But that's me fighting. Like the universe at some point told me, you gotta start fighting. I'm gonna break your hand so you start fighting. Stop fighting. Now I can't fight anymore. Like my hands hurt all the time. I had to learn the hard way, but like it equals out.
Okay, so yeah, every action has equal opposite reaction. I mean, this is 100% true karma, you know. Okay, so then when it comes to like getting out, or there's two aspects here. I mean, there's getting out and rebuilding your life, right? But there's also, you know, the very spiritual, because in other words, that is the other thing that's amazing about yourself, James, is obviously getting out and being a fitness trainer. Now we need to talk about that because you're a fitness trainer to a high level. But like we said earlier, with the yoga, you know, with the very spiritual, gentle, healing kind of aspects. Yeah, it's one thing to say, okay, look, I'm gonna get out of here. I know these things. I got the mindset. I've got this. I want to flip that into a positive, and I'm going to teach people, you know, to get fit, be strong, build a mental resilience, not give up. You know, because it's not just about the body. I mean, when you teach people, you're teaching people a lot about life, which we'll talk about as well. But that makes a lot of sense. But the yoga and the spirituality and the meditating and the karma and like all of this kind of stuff. When you're looking, okay, from street guy to this, some people are still going to be having trouble wrapping their heads around it, thinking, what, you know, like what happened to this guy? I mean, where did that gentle spiritual aspect come in to it? Do you know what I mean? And that's my question. It's like the yoga, you know, where did you learn it? When did you start doing it? And how did that specific aspect come about for you, basically?
Yeah, for sure, people don't people didn't believe me when I got out. And I told my friend I was doing yoga. It's like, okay, so if you find a way to get girls while you're on probation, like but no, it's just when it started, like when I started working on myself, I love psychology, so I used to read a lot of books. But I didn't know nothing about yoga. I didn't learn yoga inside. I was reading all the book on subconscious reprogramming and the Joseph Murphy's of the book. Yeah, I read The Secrets and everything, but I'm really more practical with was reading The Key of Master or The Key of Mastery by Charles Allen. And there's a weekly exercise. Every week they give you exercise that you gotta practice for the week. So either it's visualization or breath work or meditation, focus on something. So I was doing that for myself, and I noticed I was getting calmer and changed my perspective because I was really judgmental person, especially when it come to maybe because I was a drug dealer most of my life. So to me, drug users weren't really human beings. It was like just like ATM machines to me. So I didn't really care about your problems or your childhood or whatever trauma you're going through. Like, but in jail, like I would say 80% of the inmates, they're either drug addict or some or here for some reason that's related to drugs. So I had to interact and learn more about their stories and be more empathetic, I guess. So I started to see that I could change my perspective from all the things that I've done in the life that I live. So I'm like, okay, it's working. But when I look more into it, I was talking with my dad on the phone and other people. They always send me documents that I didn't have access. So I started reading more into yoga and I started interacting with a few studios outside of Montreal. I started writing letters to the studios. And one of them replied and he taught me a little bit more about yoga. I told him my situation that I was coming out and everything. He was willing to help me up on my release. So we started talking about that, and even in my cell, I had a book, big book about stretching. So I was stretching every day. I didn't have nothing to do, so I was stretching for like an hour or two every day. And when I got out, I realized that most of the stretching that I was doing were yoga poses. And the meditation is part of yoga, breath work is part of yoga. So I think I was doing all those things separately for other reasons, but basically I was doing yoga. So when I got out, I was looking into videos. I think I was looking into the Om sign, what it really meant. And I fell in this school called Vibration Om, which would give a intensive yoga program. It started the week after my release. So cost like 35 or 4,000. I had a credit card with like 4,000 on it. So I'm like, okay, what are the odds? I have the exact number for that thing that I didn't want to do, so I did it. And yeah, it was a class with six other girls, so I was like kind of a vacation time. And that nobody's funny because nobody knew my story. I didn't want to tell my story. I told them I was doing yoga for years. And I told them my story at the end when he got graduated, and he was like, okay, so it was vacation for you. Like I would come in the morning, you do yoga class, you do your meditation. Like it's a fun day. But yeah, that's how I started yoga. And from there, I'm like I said, I had my own talk with God when I was inside, and I said, if I'm gonna do something, I might as well do something with a purpose. Yes, I want to make money. I'm not a free spirit like that, but there's got to be something with purpose. The same thing that whatever job that I had, I would always quit because I didn't have no purpose in it. And this year I have purpose. After the class, people come to you, they say, okay, they feel better. Or people tell me about their life story. Like I'm an introvert. Like it's hard for me to approach people and to listen to people. Like people drain my energy when they talk too much. And people they always come to me and they come with all those traumatic situations. And I'm like, we only did one yoga class together and you tell me all of that. Like you probably didn't tell your mom, you probably didn't tell your psychologist, but you're telling me the guy that came out of jail for attempted murder. Like they don't know that, but I find it funny. I think it's just my energy, my aura. The fact that I've been through so much, I don't really care. Like you can tell me everything, so it just clicks with me.
So with this process, so James, there's one another thing here, as we come into the work that you're doing now, which is opening up about your story because, what we're doing today, right, is a massive step for you. I mean, it's a massive step for anyone, right? And just humor me with this one thing. Don't do the stone cold thing of, oh, it's no problem, and everything you've learned from back in the day. Because with this, it is a massive step to tell your story, and it's very brave. Okay. Now, what I want to ask you is that process of going through that in terms of like opening up about it, and because even in the time we've known each other, yeah, your energy, your vibe has opened up a lot. Like it was always there. You're always the same guy, but it's you've come out of your shell more and everything, and you're a lot more like friendly and approachable and stuff when I first met you, so can you share with us a little bit about overcoming, I don't know if to call it shame. I don't really want to put a label on it, but that kind of thing, whatever word you want to use for it, and opening up to actually share with people, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I've been through, and this is what made me who I am today. Walk us through that process, 'cause it hasn't been that long that you've been opening up about this, but you're doing amazing with it. So, sorry, it's the most
It's
helpful. Yeah.
yeah, it's the right word. It's shame. It's shame you have with yourself. It's not that I'm ashamed of the things that I did because I'm at peace with myself. But I mean, coming out of prison, and I'm still on probation until I got a couple of weeks left. But I mean, you don't want to tell a lot of information about yourself to different people. Like you want to be safe, and even like you work around people, like you want to be. I still need people to hire me, so I'm not gonna tell you, hey, I'm that guy. Like I'm going to a yoga studio, everybody's happy, everybody has their life, they're drinking their matcha and they have their beads and they have their crystal vibrating and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm that guy who walk around with guns. Let me teach a couple yoga for you. So like that's just I didn't have no shame for me. It was mostly about like being professional. Now it's been a year, like I've been around, like I work in studios, I work with people in banks, I work with lawyers and everything. So they don't know my story, but after this time, they see that side of me. So even if they know my story now, they're like, okay, we know he's a good guy. Everybody go through stuff. But when you just got out, I'm like, okay, you're just another ex-con. They're just gonna safely push me away. So that was just why I didn't talk much about. But the point I feel like is like there's no point. Like you gotta use your life experience. Like this, that's the same principle as reading a book. Like you read a book, plus you use somebody knowledge from way long time ago, so you don't have to do the same research and go back and forth and redo the same thing all the time. So I mean, my life experience should be used for somebody not to go through the same thing again. So yeah, I'm into the yoga stuff, but eventually, like I work for a couple organizations, like freeing the human spirits to help people rehabilitation in jail. Like I want to get more into that, like youth, like talk to the youth and things like that, because I know the process. I lived it. I know how they're thinking, and the process is the same. The way I was thinking 20 years ago, they still think the same way. They just have new toys to play with, but it's the same mentality. So. Yeah, the shame is just step out of the shame. You're not alone in this world. Like people did worse than you and they're doing better. So it's the right word. Just step into your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, now with this, yeah, you need to give yourself more of a mention for what you're doing now because, where you've come from to where you are now, and I'm not just talking about physically, but the whole spiritual transformation, everything. I mean, look, you're doing the yoga, you're doing the personal training, fitness training, you're getting ready to do these talks. You've got a big following on Instagram, you're getting your name out there. I mean, just go a bit more in depth as to what you're doing now, James, and what you offer to people. Because this isn't about the credentials, if you like, although you obviously have those and you have a track record now of doing these things. But I mean, it's the fact that this has also grown in quite a quick timeline, but you're getting a lot of success. And I know you're a humble guy, and you've learned to be humble through all these experiences. But just for a minute, just suspend that for a minute and just tell us about the success you're having because I'm looking at it and it's absolutely amazing. What can you offer the people who are listening to this? Break it down for us, please.
It is a big step, but it was all scripted. Because I remember the other day I was scripting my new list for the year, and I had written the things that I wanted to do when I was inside. And I put it in my wall next to all my visualization stuff. And I told myself the first year, all I want to do is get as more experience in my domain as I can. So I did all this training in personal training. I did my yoga teacher training. I worked in the studio. I worked for Hot Yoga. I worked with corporation. Like I would get corporate contracts for yoga at lunch. And just now I came back from a contract at Club Med, which is ironic because every time I was inside and I was asking the guards for something, they would tell me, hey, we're not at Club Med here. You're in prison. So for all you guys that I was asking for my food and you didn't give me my plate, I came to Club Med and I ate like crazy. Filet mignons and all types of stuff. So we can make it from jail to Club Med. So now I'm back, but now it's more like stepping to myself. I want to help people. Like I'm not a public speaker. I don't like talking like that. But I gotta help people, and that's what I gotta do. So now it's more about learning how to public speak, outreach to people. Like that phase of teaching yoga and everything, like it's done. I know it, but I gotta go further than that. But what do I sell is basically I want to sell people transformation because I talk from a place of truth. Like I speak from experience. It's not something that I read in a book. I don't have no PhD. But I have a lifetime of experience and I know how to help people out of the situation. Stress is stress, anxiety is anxiety, mind state patterns, it's all the same. We all grow up the same, we're all human beings. So What I'm trying to sell is this transformation. Could be one-on-one coaching, could be even when I teach yoga, people there get close to you, they talk to you. I teach them breath work. Breathing is life. So if I teach you how to breathe properly, it's gonna change your life. Physical training, like some people like they're I'm a dad. I stay in shape because I wanna outplay my son. Like I don't want to be 200 pounds and I run 30 seconds and I can't throw the ball anymore. So it can be a different aspects of your life. So everything that has to do with wellness, fitness, I'm gonna learn it. I'm gonna teach it. I'm learning as it goes through. There's a lot of things I don't know. But my plan was to travel and now I'm gonna get my passport back. So I want to specialize in retreats and talk globally that situation. Either like the prison system situation that makes no sense to me, and mostly about rehabilitation. And in the mean, that's my main cause. But in the meantime, like yoga and fitness training, it's always going to be the bread and butter of what I do. But we got to implement some change because the system is broken. Like I made it on my own, but the system is broken. Not a lot of people have the cognitive ability to do what I do or the support, and that's what I want to be here for.
You know what's amazing about this, James, as well, is the fact that these things are like different layers, you know. So the other thing you've got to think of is that these things like the physical training is one layer, but then you're also teaching them about life, mental resilience, mental toughness, self-confidence. The yoga is another layer, the speaking, the one-on-one coaching, all of these things are layers of helping people transform, and they're all layers of impact, you know, and they're all connected, like one organism. And I'm just absolutely inspired to see, where this goes because I know that even the time we've been working together and everything, the transformation has been massive, because all of the skills are in you, these skills, these experiences, but you've been learning how to hone them, how to put them out there into the world in a useful way. So the last couple of things just to underpin this, okay? One of them is also with your son as well. I mean, you can be now like the guy who breaks his cycle. Like, because they talk about generational curses and generational cycles, and it's very true. We grow up, we see the people who went before us doing a certain thing, we do something similar, and now you're the guy who's totally like broken the cycle. So what impact do you think that's had on your son? Because he's quite young, and obviously then you're leading by example in that sense as well.
The impact. Well, I work out when I can with him. Like I start making him do push-ups. It's more about the discipline. I don't really need him to make 100 push-ups at 7 years old. But I want to teach him the things that I didn't have. Like if I learn how to breathe and manage my emotion when I was a kid, like it's even if talk about stuff like we don't talk, I just manage my things internally. I just swallow everything. So I show him how not to do that. Talk to me. And sometimes, even at 7 years old, sometimes you speak great knowledge, and I'm surprised. And I always teach people like you gotta teach your kids to be curious, but to think for themselves, because we live in a system that's in a frame. They always want to put you in a frame box. So even when I tell them something, you challenge my authority all the time. Like, okay, you told me this, but this makes no sense. And I gotta step back and think about it. It's like it's not because I'm an adult that I'm right. So if that's what I'm doing, teaching how to think for himself. Well, yeah, you gotta lead by example. Everybody makes mistakes. So I think the success is the greatest lesson. I mean, whatever you did, I did. I went to the cliff, but I mean, you don't have to go this far, but you can still make it. Whatever happened in your life, you can still turn your life around. Like I've been honest about him. Like I know people weren't really happy when I told them what I went to jail for. I mean, I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to him. Like he's okay, he's too young to understand the circumstances of it, but I did what I did. And it's not cool. Like I didn't see him for the 4 years I was inside. The first 2 years was because of COVID, but after that I could have get visit, but I didn't want him to come to that environment. I didn't want him to think it's cool to be in jail. Because when you're a kid, I know what you think. Like I was looking at gangster music, gangster movies, it was cool for me to watch them go to jail. Like, okay, they go to jail, they come out, they hard, they this, they that. And I didn't want him to see that from his dad. Now you see that, okay, yoga is cool. Okay, fitness is cool. Okay, having big muscle is cool. Okay, definitely works. Like you see, you see the girls, it's like, okay, my dad is cool. So yeah, you teach by example.
Okay, okay. That's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. All right, last couple of things then. Okay. Um, that is one of them. I mean, for people to get in touch with you and for people to contact you, work with you directly, and reach out to you, give yourself a mention as to how they can do that, please, James.
Well, there's a thousand ways to reach me. JamesLeslie.com, my website, Instagram, James Leslie 17, because 17 is my lucky number since I was in prison. So I put 17. TikTok, same thing, James Leslie 17. Facebook, James Leslie. It's all my first name. Everything is my first name. Call my man Liam, he's gonna give you my links. I work with this organization called Freeing the Human Spirit. So it's freeingthehumanspirit.com. I recruit yoga teachers and facilitator of meditation for prisons in Quebec and Ontario. We work with Prison Yoga Project Org. I work with mostly in the States, but in the west of Canada too, making your life better. But reach me my number, 438-221-1471. I have the same number since I got out. The world can have it because anyways, it's on my website. So and you just WhatsApp me. Like if you need help, I can help you. Like even if you some people just want to be one woman told me I was seeing not too long ago, she told me people just want to be seen and heard. I can listen. I can see you. I don't need to talk. So let's hop on a call. Like I'll just listen to you. Like if that makes you feel better. So some people that's what they need. So that's what I'm here for.
Well, you are a very good listener, and presence is a powerful thing. I mean, sometimes that's the greatest gift we can give to somebody, just to be present with them. And the future is only going to get bigger for you, my friend. I mean, this is the thing I'm excited to see now, like the yoga, the Instagram, everything you're doing is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, the personal training. But this aspect now with the speaking, the mindset coaching, the one-on-one coaching, whatever exact label you want to give it. I don't like labels, but in other words, helping people to transform in that sense. I'm really excited to see where that's going to go. Final word for the youth of today and tomorrow, actually, because that's really what they are. Any final piece of advice you would give to the youth who are struggling or into the life that you were into? We've given a lot of that through the course. We don't need to go on and on, but just any final words for them, and then we'll wrap this up. We've done a great job, but I feel that. So yeah.
Being being different is okay. Like we are not your average yogis. Yes, that's my brand, but it's attached to everybody. Like we're not. I'm different. When I stepped into the studio, I was like, okay, they have their little necklace with beads and they're shaking their crystals and things like that. I'm not like that. I don't come from that cloth. My people don't come from that cloth. The people that I help on a day-to-day basis, they're not like that. So it's okay to be different. Yoga is for everyone. It's not, you don't have to wear Lululemons. Like it's okay. I listen to gangster raps. Sometimes I feel like smoking weed. I don't, but sometimes I feel like it. So I mean, it's you don't have to be perfect. Just do one thing at a time. Work on yourself and start with your spirituality because anything's gonna follow from that. Like work on yourself, work on your values, and everything. Every decision that you make is gonna fall from that. So you're not gonna make bad decisions. You're gonna make decisions that are related to yourself. So. That's the best advice that I could give somebody.
Absolutely. Well, that is incredible. And that is, I'm just moving over here just where it's a little bit quieter at the moment. That is absolutely incredible, James. And as I've said already, the way that you've transformed, you're just an absolute inspiration. You just represent so many beautiful things. And, the way that you lead by example, which is really what you do, you embody these principles now. And like I said at the beginning, it doesn't mean that you're perfect either, because you'll still have your battles and everything. But like I said earlier, all of the things that were once used for negative have changed shape, changed form, changed direction, and they're now used for the positive. And I just think it is absolutely incredible. So anyone who wants to work with you, we've already heard, give James a shout out, and I'm just absolutely honored to be able to tell this story, and I mean that from my heart. And I'm absolutely honored that also, I've got to say, that you've trusted me to work with me as well during this process with everything you come from. That's also an honor. But today, to tell the story, to get the story out there, to touch some lives who listen to this, and to get some more people to work with you, everything that we've done, absolutely incredible. So, thank you very, very much for sharing everything that you shared from the heart. And it's just been awesome talking with you today, my friend.
Thanks for your platform, and let's change the world one person at a time.
Not your average yogi. Yeah, one person at a time. That's what we've got to do. 100%.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.